Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man JRich.
Count that money, man.
Now wipe the crust out of your eyes, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Ray G. You honestly are making absolutely no sense and you sound silly as hell. Let's get it, GMGP. Happy Halloween Eve, Monday, October the 30th, 2023. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with Ray G after a wild week 8 in the NFL. And I'm glad y'all in the damn building, baby. What's happening with you? Leo Scott in the building. What's happening, my dog Leo Greg Oswald, main event. David from across the pond. Hey, yo, David, make sure you tap in the Bleacher Report today. I'm going to have your Jags inside my top 5 power rankings, man. Shout out to the Jags. Johnny Lillycrap, my dog Robert. Already talking about Brock Purdy. Purdy was pretty bad again. Yes, he was not good. Moggs, Marlon. We got a big building, man. I saw Joe in the building, Graphic 13. What's up, Joe? How you doing, my girl? Hunter Joe Green, Marlon in the building, Adam. Jay, cut the music. Welcome in. We got a lot to talk about. Kind of a different format. I really want to make sure we hit on the fantasy relevant players. Damn, headphones are sliding off the back of my neck right now. JRich is in the back. It is an ice cold 37 degrees out here in Dallas, Texas. I'm not feeling it, y'all. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not feeling it whatsoever. But we got a lot to talk about on the show today. Make sure you're tapped into everything that we're doing over on Destination Devy. The Trinity Tracker, man. Trinity Tracker is live and well. Y'all need to go check it out. It's dope. Cool tool right there. You see JRich on the screen. You get in there, play around. We can run our data, look at historical stuff, and a very nice tool in order to help you navigate the wide receiver market. You've also got podcasts from Scott Connor. JRich drops straight to the bank on Friday. Derek and Gump, college football on Saturdays. Jeff Mueller, injury reports, and shout out to the people that pay the bills. Mojo, Underdog, Prize Picks, all the sponsors out there. JRich, how you doing this morning, baby? I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good, Jay. I'm feeling good, baby. My Cowboys.
Yeah, big win, right?
Where's my helmet at, man? Where's the helmet at, man?
No,
we're
not getting there. We're not getting there.
Okay,
but they did play damn well.
They played good.
Damn well. We had the over, and it hit. I mean, they almost hit it by themselves, but they played damn good. Both sides of the ball. This is the Cowboys' defense, special teams, offense that we need to see consistently, right? They got a big game this week.
I gotta fix my hat and shit, man. I'm fumbling. Go ahead.
Well, if you want, we can get into the news, right? Because there is a ton of news that we have to get to. So we will start with the news. Everyone knows it. If you didn't see it, Kirk Cousins, torn Achilles. Going to miss the whole season. We're going to see what happens with him heading into next season. He is going to be a free agent. Scott Connor went a little bit deeper into this on his podcast this morning. I didn't get through all of it, but talking about how is there a chance that Kirk Cousins could come back to the Vikings next season on a prove-it deal in a system that he knows. It's very uncertain now because he's not going to get that big contract, big extension due to the Achilles injury. So we'll see what happens with Kirk Cousins. Matthew Stafford as well, if you missed it, injured his thumb. Likely another UCL strain. We've seen this, more and more recently. Justin Fields has his UCL strain. We talked about with Drew Brees. Some of the other quarterbacks have dealt with UCL strains. Hit it off a Cowboys player's helmet, so it was pretty banged up. And then, of course, he caught a 2-point conversion and dove into the end zone to convert that 2-point conversion. So shout out Matthew Stafford for gutting it out. The big thing here is the Rams are on bye in Week 10, and so our injury analyst Jeff Mueller was saying that he could miss Week 9 and return in Week 11 after the Rams bye. Ray, Tyrod Taylor also left Sunday's game, so they're without Tyrod Taylor now potentially with a rib fracture, without Daniel Jones, and they just, I believe, broke the NFL record for the fewest passing yards in a game with -9 passing yards. Now we will get... I see you back there. What?
Wild. No. When the mic was muted. I was just saying wild, man, that they have fucking negative yards. What?
And we will get into Saquon Barkley, Bellcow Barkley, I think we can call him.
Bellcow Barkley, man. Hit the sounder, yes.
If you're in a points per carry league, he smashed for you this week. But as well, they also lost Darren Waller to a hamstring injury. We don't know the severity of the injury, but they held him out of the game. They said he could potentially return, but they decided to hold him out. Right? Kenny Pickett, your boy, suffered a rib injury as well on Sunday. So that he is in jeopardy to miss Thursday Night Football. I'm trying to get through the news, right? I'm trying to get through the news.
That's your boy. That ain't my boy. That's your boy. But keep going.
He is potentially going to miss Thursday Night Football. He is up against the Tennessee Titans, right? The new look Titans. And we will get into the new look Titans in a little bit. But Kenny Pickett may miss with his rib injury. Jeff was saying that if it was Sunday, he may be able to play. But on Thursday, he feels a little bit less likely to play this Thursday as well. Jonathan Taylor dealing with a potential injury after he was hobbled to end the first half and limited to only 2 touches in the second half. So that will be one to monitor. Your boy, I can say it this time, Kendrick Bourne suffered an MCL sprain in the fourth quarter of the Patriots-Miami Dolphins game, along with Devontae Parker.
Y'all. Everybody said it was echo. That's my bad. I pushed a bunch of buttons on the thing. That's my bad, y'all. That's my bad. That's my bad.
We're good. All right, so Kendrick Bourne, potential MCL sprain. Jeff has fears of an ACL sprain as well. And they lost Devontae Parker to a concussion. Curtis Samuel suffered a toe injury. Could be turf toe, could be a toe sprain, but Jeff is saying he's probably going to miss at least a week or 2. Your boy Drake London also suffered a groin sprain that could cause him to miss week 9. And Ray, head coach Jonathan Gannon said Joshua Dobbs is the Arizona Cardinals starter for week 9. We'll see if that actually holds true, but we know that Kyler's window to return is closing, and I believe week 10 would be the final time he'd actually have to return to the field. So we'll see what happens, but at least as it stands right now, Jonathan Gannon says Josh Dobbs is in, and Kyler Murray still only practicing for now.
Whew, man, it's the biggest thing for me was the Cousins injury. That sucks, man. We were bigging him up in the Discord right before that joint popped off, man. And I'm watching what he did, Jay. And I went back because for those of you that don't know, I did tear my Achilles about a year ago, and the same sort of motion that Kirk Cousins did, where he kind of stepped back on that foot. I went back and looked at the video that you recorded when I tore mine. It was the same thing, dude. Like the same thing where your foot was kind of back. And I'm just like, how many times has he done that, or had I done that and nothing happened? And then the one time that
scary, man, the
pressure was just right and bow, there it goes. So very unfortunate for Kirk Cousins, Jay. And, you look at sort of what happened yesterday in the NFL, and I couldn't stop but asking myself the question, how do teams get themselves in those type of positions? Like the Giants. Okay. Walking into the season, like we knew that the wide receiver core was not good. We told ourselves a story that they could make it work with Darius Slayton, with Isaiah Hodgins. You bring in Darren Waller, everything will be okay. And then you look around, that team's just devoid of talent. Like how does it happen like that to where you just lose everything? I mean, you've got inactives and Evan Neal, first rounder last year, inactive. You're signing guys off the street to play offensive line. You don't have any pass catchers out there. Just It's rough. That whole situation is bad. Even Saquon Barkley, with what he did, if they think that that's what they're going to be able to do, multiple weeks on end and be able to compete and keep people healthy, they're the worst team in football. I know that the Arizona Cardinals right now are projected to have the number one. I do believe they are the worst team in football. Arizona might be projected to have the number 1 pick, but the New York Giants are the worst team in the NFL. They have no talent on the offensive side of the ball. They have no quarterback. It's running back or bust for them right now. And then defensively, they can't stop anything. They are a bad football team. And to go from a team that won 1 playoff game to damn near the first overall pick in the NFL draft, I asked the question yesterday, Jay. They're picking number 1. All right. I don't think Daniel Jones' contract is going to stop them from taking Caleb Williams or Drake May.
No.
I don't. No. People are like, oh, Daniel Jones isn't the problem. He may not be the problem. He may not be the only problem. He's a problem, but he may not be the only problem. That's a tough pill to pass if you're a head coach or a GM and you pass on Caleb Williams and I don't even know if he's going to be great, but the idea and the belief that he could be great, you pass on that for Daniel Jones, that's like a career ender for you. That right there, that type of move, you don't get another shot when you screw up that badly. So it's going to be interesting to watch how all that plays out, but I do believe Arizona is projected to have the number 1 pick. Denver really killing their chances, man, by winning against Kansas City. I had no business winning that game, and they just keep killing their chances to get a different quarterback. I mean, Russ was good, but we'll get into Russell Wilson in a minute. There's a lot of top fantasy football takeaways that we are going to get through on the show. Caleb behind that Giants O-line isn't going to be much better. Yeah, man, they can't block for anything. So it's going to be interesting there, Jay. But let's get into our top fantasy takeaways. I see we got a lot of super chats. Somebody sent a super chat last week. I think it was John Webb. We didn't get to it, but I'll make sure that we call for those before we close out the show. I got y'all, no doubt about it, baby. Jay, let's start off with the quarterback position. So wanted to kind of change the flow up for how we do these and really dive into the positions and how we feel about the players that performed well, the good, the bad, and the ugly for some of these players in fantasy. So let's start out with the QBs, Jay, and let's start off with the very good from this past Sunday. Let's start off with the very good. And the last player that I thought we would be talking about to lead the show, A Block, is Tennessee Titans rookie quarterback Will the Thrill. I'll put a banana peel in your Levis, man. He was out there balling, Jay. I mean, but turn that up. Thank you. I need to hear that. Will Levis was out there damn balling for the Tennessee Titans this past Sunday, Jay. 4 touchdown passes in the game for Will Levis, and one of them, the last one, to Nick Westbrook-Akine. There are maybe a handful of quarterbacks in the league that have the arm strength to do that. I mean, he's rolling out, dropping back to the right, not even feet set, throws it damn near cross field, cross his body, a laser to Nick Westbrook-Akine in the end zone. Listen, that's the arm strength. Say what you want about the Capitals, say what you want about all the other shit from college. Anybody denying the fact that he had a cannon you're insane. He's got a hand cannon. Beautiful pass. DeAndre Hopkins, we'll talk about him in the wide receiver section, Jay. But let's just stick with Will Levis and his chance, his opportunity. You know, it's like the Eminem song in 8 Mile, man. Did he seize his moment? Did he seize the opportunity? And is this Will Levis's job moving forward for the Tennessee Titans?
I don't think it's his job moving forward, not because he didn't earn it, right? I just believe that Tennessee is up to some business. Ray, watching that game, I can't believe there is the potential. Like, I can't even believe that Malik Levis even stepped on the field, right? Like, they must have known this was possible to some extent, right? Like, you don't do this without showing something in practice. I believe Will Levis deserves this job going forward. Does that mean they're going to give it to him, though? I don't know. I hope so, because I think he earned. I think he played great. You know, you look at the Atlanta Falcons, they're a decent defense. They're probably middle of the pack. People are going to look at me and say that I'm crazy, but this is just what's been happening in Tennessee over the past few years. They haven't committed to a quarterback, maybe because they haven't had one as good as Levis, but maybe they do believe that Tannehill could be the answer for them when the pressure is really on the line, right? Levis came out, played great, slung the ball over the field, was phenomenal. Can he do that for weeks on end? We'll see against better competition. But I think my question to you, Ray, is does this put the Tennessee Titans in line potentially for the division? Because we had them written off, right? We thought there was no chance. And if Levis is playing even close to what this is, you have to respect the pass. You have Derrick Henry. They're already reporting that they're probably not going to trade him. Maybe the Tennessee Titans are in play for the playoffs this season.
So let's talk about Will Levis. And here's a very important, I tweeted this out, man. I see a lot of people in the chat right now. Trade Brock Purdy for Will Levis. Dude, go by any means necessary. Go get. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how things change in football, right? Isn't it? I think this is a valuable lesson for everybody, especially us fantasy football players. Just because a player doesn't get drafted where you think they should get drafted, or you had them projected to get drafted in April, just because a player through training camp may not start the season out from the rip in July in training camp, in August in preseason, maybe we should stop writing cats off immediately, especially young players where with Will Levis, man, it was a matter of when, not if, he got on the field. He got drafted in a high enough range still as a top second-round pick that you should have known that he was going to get some opportunity at some point. This Tennessee Titans team was bad. He's going to get some opportunity. Didn't a single person in the world, nobody wanted no damn Will Levis. Nobody. He was written off for dead, no good. And now what I fear is going to happen is a massive pendulum swing and overcorrection for a mispriced player in the first place. And what I think you're going to see people do is go out there and trade the farm to try to get Will Levis. Managers who may have lost Kirk Cousins, they're going to blow all this capital and overpay to chase what's already happened. The time to buy Will Levis was before Sunday. It's not today, right? Now, there may be some leagues where you got some players, some fantasy managers who just double down on bad takes, and despite new information, they still say, he sucks. He's not good. He's not going to be good. I'll trade him to you. Cool. But I believe, by and large, most fantasy managers, most dynasty managers who have Will Levis today, they're not going to sell. What did Fat Joe say? What Fat Joe say?
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Why is this thing hanging off like that in my face? It's making me it's making me very uncomfortable the way that thing was just. I don't like that, man. You got to tell me that shit, Jay. That right there, that got me hot.
You're in the middle of
speaking.
You
got to tell me that thing can't be hanging off the mic in my face like that, man. That's a bad look for OGQ. But yesterday's price isn't today's price. The time to buy him truly at whatever discount he could have gotten was last week, the week before. Jay, I said it in our Discord a month ago. I legitimately asked people, I said, hey, maybe now's the time to take a shot on Will Levis. The Tennessee team isn't very good. Is it okay to throw a second at him? A couple of thirds. It was a month ago. I told our patrons, I'm like, go get him. Now's the time to try to buy Will Levis. Ray, you're crazy. But now today you want to go chase the falling knife. I'm not doing it. I'm not trying to buy game stock after the joint went from 15 to 198. I'm just not doing that. Now, there's still room for upside. And in that example, it did go higher. But what happens if he goes out there next week and lays an egg? Nobody wants him. It's back to being Will Levis. I just think we got to be very mindful with players moving forward and opportunity that's either earned, given, or not given at the start of the season. It's football, man. It's a long season. It's a long season, Jay. And like it or not, I think on average, 50-something quarterbacks a season take a snap. They're under center for multiple snaps. You got running backs galore. Receivers get hurt. Maybe we should stop being so black and white. Just drawing these blanket conclusions off of not starting week 1 of an NFL season. It's just funny to watch the narrative shift and swing that quickly on players. This is a fickle market we're playing in, Jay. This is a fickle dynasty market that we are navigating fantasy football land in right now. He was good, though, Jay. He was good. What is your final sort of assessment take on Will Levis? How are you treating him in Dynasty? What's your advice to the people on how to move forward with him in Dynasty?
So I was looking up his KTC value, right? Talking about where he is right now versus where he was. He's basically right around where he was after the draft, right? So after he was drafted in May, he was right around QB 20, 21 or so. KTC value is 3,100. It'll probably go up a bit more. He's 3,600, 3,670 actually was his peak on May 17th after the draft. You talk about QB ranking. He's QB 23. He'll go up, right? He's behind Geno Smith, behind Daniel Jones, behind Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett's an interesting comparison, right? First round pick on a pretty good team. Hurt right now, but he's going down in value because he's not playing well. I think people would probably take a Will Levis today over a Pickett, but to your point, that could switch pretty quickly. The only reason why I disagree on buying Pickett or buying Levis a little bit is because a lot of people don't like him. But I think to your point, the people that don't like him don't have him either, right? Some people probably fell into him a little bit in drafts. Some people probably just took him because of the process, because he's a quarterback. But a lot of people still don't really like Levis. And then to your point, when you're rolling out right and throwing left, that's a play that they drop for Justin Herbert and Josh Allen. And that's pretty much it when you look at quarterbacks across the league. They don't drop that play very often. And so when you look at it from that perspective, he does things that a lot of guys can't do. And when you have a Derrick Henry currently on the roster, it does open up that play action for a quarterback that can make the throws, right? When you have Tannehill out there who can't make the throws, it's more difficult. When you have a quarterback that can, all of a sudden you're hitting these big plays over the top. And obviously Hopkins made some great plays as well. So I think there's plenty of value when you're talking about Will Levis. But again, what are you buying into? Is it a QB 12? Is it a QB 11? And kind of what that ceiling could look like for Levis in terms of quarterback play in this Tennessee Titans offense, because we know it's not going to be super high flying unless I get rid of Derrick Henry and kind of change their offensive philosophy overall. But I think it's still pretty good. I think you could buy him. And my question to you would be a 25 first. Would you pay that for a Will Levis today?
Yeah, I'll play 25 first for him. I'll take that shot. 25
I think
first.
that's about what could maybe get it done and is a reasonable price, right? I don't think you want to pay a 24 first, but if you got conviction and maybe you need a quarterback, you're buying into someone who could ascend and you're not giving up a first this year. I think it's a pretty decent cost for a Will Levis that someone may actually accept.
All right, Jay, let's keep the show rolling. Let's keep it pushing. And I want to head to New Orleans and talk about Derek Carr, who also had a big game. Got to give Derek Carr some love after he cursed out Chris Olave on the sidelines. He went out there and backed it up. Went out there and played very well. 2 touchdowns, over 300 yards. Derek Carr, good game for Derek Carr this week. How you feeling about Carr? Just quickly, moving forward, do you think this is the start of some positive momentum for Derek Carr, or do we get the old Derek Carr next week?
I think there was definitely some positive momentum for the offense, a team that was, going through a lot this week, especially, Underhill talked about it all week long, but this is the Colts team that's allowed 30 points or more 3 times now throughout the season. They, like I mentioned, they were 27 points a game. It was good for the Saints to put up this performance, but we can't expect this weekly from Derek Carr or the Saints. So I think it's good to see it from him. Fantasy managers need to see it, but I don't know if we can consistently say he's going to be doing this week over week.
Jay, who I think is back to doing it consistently week over week, and this was the first time it felt like we saw the old man out there playing. But Joe Burrow, Jay. Joe Burrow, monster performance. He was damn near flawless in this matchup versus San Francisco. Flawless. He had, 4 incomplete passes in this matchup? 28 for 32, 283, 3 touchdowns. And what's most important, look at his passing chart, man. 1 for 1 deep down the middle, another one in a touchdown, 20 yards down the field. Right-hand side of the field, and then you just look at how efficient he was. He ran the ball. He moved around fine. This looked like the old Joe Burrow. He was phenomenal in this matchup versus a team that we continue to talk about their defense, Jay, and I tweeted it out. I'm like, what defense? They have been absolutely gutted since Dallas. They won their Super Bowl versus Dallas, and the San Francisco 49ers have been dog shit since then. P.J. Walker putting foot in them, Joe Burrow and company. I heard on the broadcast, Jay, there was a stat that the Cincinnati Bengals were dead last in the NFL in explosive plays of 15 yards or more. They had 6 or something. Yeah, it was something low. And then the next lowest was double what they had. And then they went out there and just put foot in San Francisco. So you're talking about the NFL's least explosive team versus this vaunted defense, and they just made them look silly. They made them look silly. Brock Purdy's taking all the heat today. I'm asking, where's this San Francisco defense that I was told was the best defense to ever walk the face of the planet, with Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead and Ward and Hufanga and Fred Warner and Greenlaw, all these players, and they're getting foot put in them every single week since their Super Bowl, Jay. But Joe Burrow was incredible in that one. Yeah, we saw this. Burrow had 18 consecutive passes.
Insane.
If you got to buy low on Joe Burrow, the early season panic, good for you, because he looked absolutely incredible, Jay. Another player who was balling. Hit the sounder. Dakota Prescott was on fire for the Dallas Cowboys versus the Los Angeles Rams. Cowboys put foot in the Rams. And Jay, did you know, and I didn't even know this until I heard what's his name? The NFL Red Zone guy talking about it. What's his name? Scott Hansen, man. The first time in NFL history an NFL score finished 20-43. We have never seen a score like that.
Nice.
Yeah, scoregami. We've never seen that type of score in the NFL ever. So there we go. We got some history in this one. But Dak, 25 for 31, 304, 4 touchdowns. He did throw 1 interception. Who cares? He was cooking, man. CeeDee Lamb involved. Jake Ferg involved. Dak Prescott. What say you about Dak Prescott moving forward, Jay? We've been having a lot of conversations about him, his dynasty value. Would you rather? What say you about Rain Dakota?
I mean, right now, QB 16, probably going to go back up. I think, talk about the new Kirk Cousins. We've been talking about Dak kind of in that light for a couple of years now, a guy who can easily be a top end, or back end, QB1, high end QB2 with plenty of upside. I think the good thing for us is that for once we saw the defense play well and Dak play well. Like week 1 against the Giants, he didn't do anything because he didn't have to, and the defense did all the scoring, right? This game, you got a bit of both. You got the 4 touchdowns. It really was alpha week when you talk about wide receivers, but I thought Dak was great. I think he's kind of working his way into that top 12.
Stop.
They had their chance, Joe. They had their chance for Trey Lance. Not going to happen.
The Vikings aren't making no move for Trey Lance. Stop. No.
All right, Ray. So I do have to ask you about Dak because does this change anything for you? And I want to know how high you would take him today versus last week, because we have Jared Goff ahead of him right now.
Yep.
Would you take him over Jared Goff?
They're the same. I don't care. They're the same to me.
Do you prefer exact same? Like you don't prefer Dak? I prefer Dak because I think the offense is better, but
Don't you make me pull.
I've never been a Goff guy.
You've never been a Dak guy either.
I've been down on Dak for some years.
Anti-Dak.
Yes, that's true. But that's when he was up in QB1 range. He's not now. He's QB 16. Then you got Brock Purdy. Would you take Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott?
I'll take
That's
Dak.
changing quick. Yeah, that's changing quick. Bryce Young, who we'll get to.
We'll talk about Bryce.
And then you got Kyler, Tua, A-Rich. Probably not taking him over those guys, but I think there's some room for upside.
Yeah, give me Kyler, give me Tua, give me A-Rich. Yeah, for sure.
Dak was great.
I think he's priced appropriately, man. I believe that Dak is going to turn into, God, I hate saying this. I hate saying this because it's the most overused comp cliche in the history of fantasy football when evaluating quarterbacks. Who am I going to say he's sort of reminiscent of?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, think about an older veteran quarterback who's been really good that everybody gets comped to him. Mainly white quarterbacks who don't run around. No, Kirk Cousins, man. He feels like the type of quarterback that's he's just going to be a starter. Like nobody's really going to want him, but he's going to be a rock solid high-end QB2 that can give you QB1 weeks. That's what he kind of feels like. That player that for the next 3 years nobody's really going to want, but if you have him as your QB2 and in some weird spots where he might be your QB1, you're like, oh, cool, like Dak's fine, but nobody's ever really
QB1 at
want
QB2 prices, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No one, he's never getting back up into that top 12. It's not happening, but I'll take the value at QB15 to QB17 with Dak Prescott. Jay, we talk about him every single week, man, but Sam Howell was very good this past Sunday. The Washington Commanders are not very good, and they blew that game versus Philadelphia. As a Cowboys fan, we needed Washington to pull that one off. They let Philly march back on him, but Sam Howell, 52 pass attempts, Jay. Do you want to know what his pass attempt prop total was on the weekend?
Probably 36 and a half.
34 and a half. He had 39 completions, Jay. I mean, it was sweat-free. This is the thing, and if you watch that game, by the end of the game, he was gassed, dude. He looked so damn tired from just throwing the ball.
Sitting back there.
But here's the thing. They're letting him air it out, Jay, and I appreciate what Washington is doing. They want to know, can we move forward with this young man as our quarterback or can't we? And they're letting him air it out. He had damn near 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was incredible. He's running around. He's avoiding sacks. Listen, Sam Howell, we talked about, he's going to get sacked. He's going to do some wild stuff. But one thing you can't count him out for is just a gunslinger. And he is creating a very fantasy-friendly environment for a lot of players to, if it were a Brock Purdy or a Carson Wentz, I don't think we could expect the same level of production from the pass catchers. And on the other side of the ball, Jay, another quarterback that was dominant on the weekend, Jalen Hurts, right? Jalen Hurts, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. I do believe he fumbled the damn ball again, but he got it done for us, and more importantly, he got the receivers involved. Sam Howell, I'm gonna ask it again because this is one we go back and forth on every week. We flip-flopping like a pancake over here with damn Sam Howell. It's 1 week he's gonna be another year bridge starter, and then the other week he's no good. I'm gonna ask you again, where you at with Sam Howell moving forward?
I still like Sam Howell, and I think this is the take that I would go back to is when we talked about Sam Howell from the beginning, it was, okay, we don't know if he's good or the long-term answer, but he is a player I think I'd be willing to let just fall off the map on my roster,
on your
right?
roster?
Even though he's young, right? And he maybe doesn't have that long-term value, he could secure that and that would be fine. But every week, this guy is just putting up numbers. And Ray, like, I don't know if people are really, I think people are catching on to the fact he's doing well for fantasy, but he still doesn't have a ton of value. Like, you could still trade for Sam Howell pretty easily, I feel. And he just put up, like, what, a QB2 performance after, like, a QB9 performance week before that. Like, every single week, he continues to do well. This is his second game against Philly where he put up another 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. You talk about the sacks. Only took 1 sack in this game. Even Hurts took more than that. So I think that Sam Howell, for everything that he isn't potentially long-term, what he provides you short-term is phenomenal. I think we should continue to be starting him. I think you should be playing him almost every single week. And I think the one thing that I discounted is the fact that Bieniemy put up so many points on this defense last year. And I completely slipped my mind. Bieniemy's game plan for this Eagles defense that was better last season and still put up a phenomenal performance on them. So to see him do that twice this year shouldn't be a huge surprise, but it is a bit of a surprise to see him do it with Sam Howell. But all the pass catchers did well. Sam Howell was great, and Jalen Hurts obviously was great on the other side as well.
Jay, Tua Tagovailoa was great as well. Another good performance from Tua. What's his odds to win MVP? Is he the favorite right now at this point?
He is the favorite right now at plus 300, deservedly so, right? Tyreek Hill as well, the favorite to win Offensive Player of the Year. Yeah, I mean, against the Patriots, no surprise, he shredded them. They stood no chance. Tyreek Hill, Waddle over 100 yards. Tua was great. It was really just the running game didn't really get going in this one, but they didn't really need it. And for them, they move on. They go to Frankfurt next week for a date with the Chiefs. And Ray, I think they got a shot to win that game now.
I do too. We'll talk about Kansas City in a minute. But the final player from the good section of the quarterbacks that I want to touch on, Jay, and I mentioned this 2 weeks ago, and if you're just box score scouting, you're not going to see the full picture. If you're just looking at the finals box score, you don't see the full picture. Bryce Young has quietly put some very positive performances together 3 weeks in a row. And yesterday, for the first time, and I tweeted this out, or I said this in the Discord, for the first time in his young NFL career, he felt like a pro quarterback to me. Like he felt and looked like a pro quarterback. His duel versus C.J. Stroud, they came back, got in range to kick the game-winning field goal for their first win. He outplayed C.J. Stroud in that matchup. C.J. Stroud was not very good. Bryce Young, 22 for 31, 235, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. And the plays that he was making in the pocket, escaping pressure, he looked like Bryce Young from Alabama. And I don't want to put too much stock on just this game, but he's a player that I tweeted it out in our Discord, man. The assignment this week for me is to go acquire some Bryce Young. He's the type of quarterback you could just tell, man, receivers are going to want to play with. You don't think other veteran wide receivers have taken notice that he's completely revitalized Adam Thielen, who's on track to make a damn all-pro team, Pro Bowl player at 33 years old when he was written off for dead. He has quietly put together back-to-back-to-back positive things inside of that offense, and this is still an offense that lacks a dominant running game, has nothing at tight end, and their wide receiving core is below average. And I know Adam Thielen is doing his damn thing, but ain't nobody going to sit there and say that the combination of Terrace Marshall, Adam Thielen, DJ Chark is a formidable receiving core. Bryce Young, I know you were very skeptical and not in on Bryce Young early. What say you about him over the past couple of performances, and in particular, this matchup against C.J. Stroud?
I mean, in this game, I thought he was great, right? You talk about playmaking alone. He made a ton of plays, and it wasn't that it was always there, but I talked about with CJ Stroud, you see the upside, right? You see the potential if things hit. Now, in the case of Stroud, he's kind of regressing right now, but these things can happen when you have two great defensive coordinators with 2 weeks to prepare for a rookie quarterback. But Bryce definitely passed the test and looked better than Stroud in this matchup. So to your point, he's stacking good performance on good performance, and this is with an offensive coordinator or an offensive play calling change this week as well. That clearly benefited Bryce a little bit, and I think working more with Thomas Brown, the familiarity of the play calling will continue to get better. When you finally get Frank Reich out of there, new play caller, clearly we've seen better things for Bryce Young, and I think, to your point, can only continue to stack these good performances on top of each other. So I was definitely encouraged with what I saw, and I just hope that they can get some more playmakers in there because clearly he desperately needs them.
All right, Jay, let's get to the bad for the quarterbacks. Brock Purdy, bad. Bad Brock.
Yep.
Brock Purdy was bad on Sunday, and he had 395 yards, 365 passing yards. So, and he led the team in rushing. So it's kind of weird because for fantasy, it was fine for you if you had him. It was good enough in fantasy, but the actual performance, and listen, I'm not about to do this. He was on the field, so don't give me he was concussed and shouldn't have been out there. I don't know how he was out there in the first place. I have yet to see the fact that a quarterback was in protocol on a Monday or Tuesday and somehow
any player, right? Not just
yet to see
any
it.
Player.
I've yet to see it. So why he was on the field, don't know. But we're not about to make those type of excuses and say that he was concussed when he was thrown. He did slam his head pretty hard, but you know what? You're on the field, so you're going to be graded by what you did on the field. And what's so frustrating about Purdy, if anybody actually watched that game, and you're not just following the leader like social media, there were some throws where he's freaking phenomenal. I mean, Brandon Ayuk had a couple literally doink off his face mask where you're like, whew, that was a nasty throw. Hitting George Kittle. There's some awesome throws. But then it feels very much Carson Wentz-like. Like, awesome throw,
That's the best way to describe it, yeah.
awesome throw. And then what are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing, yeah.
Like, what are you doing, man? So, Brock Purdy, not very good. The 49ers have lost 3 straight. A bye probably couldn't come at a better time. Feels like they're missing a little Deebo Samuel as well. They're missing some of those short screens, those dump-offs to matriculate the ball. Probably need to get Deebo Samuel back. Another bad performance, Jordan Love. And I don't even know what to say about Love, Jay, because...
Why? He's been so bad.
Well, here's the thing. He has, but then you watch the game and you're like, well, he ain't as bad as all these other players, but it's neither awful nor good. It's just like not enough. It's just not. And I'll say this: Green Bay's awful. All right,
they are bad. They're bad.
I tried to watch because I'm like, this is the week Aaron Jones gets involved. They get Christian Watson. Watson didn't do a damn thing. Aaron Jones is an afterthought. You can't even start him right now. A.J. Dillon does this team is bad. They can't. It's bad. And Jordan Love doesn't help. But you watch it and you're like, well, he ain't the. It doesn't feel as glaringly bad as when Daniel Jones was under center or when but it's not good. Like you watch it, it's not good. But it ain't like, man, he is the sole issue with this team. But Jordan Love was not good. Geno Smith got it done, Jay. He got it done this week.
He was awful.
But he was not very good either. But he did get the job done. Geno Smith got it done, but not good in my opinion, but he got the job done. And then the final bad, well, I got 2 more bad performances. C.J. Stroud, just thoroughly outplayed by Bryce Young in that matchup. And then Patrick Mahomes. I get it. He was sick.
No excuses.
But Patrick Mahomes could catch his smoke too. He was bad. Patty was bad. And no one's panicking about Mahomes long term. Came out that he had the damn flu. Wish we would have known that before I ranked him QB1 on the week versus the Denver Broncos. It's going to kill my ECR rankings. I've been on fire the past couple of weeks. But he was freaking bad, man. He was bad. Mahomes was bad in this one. Launching picks, can't run around. He was bad. We're just calling it like it is. You had him as QB1. You feel very bad because he didn't do anything. But that ain't the worst, Jay. That's the bad. We just kind of fly through the bad real quick because, Geno Smith got it done for you. Brock Purdy, if in fantasy, got it done for you. Let's get to the ugly. The good, the bad, the ugly. Your boy, a Ritter game. Finally.
It was a Ritter game.
It was a Ritter game, and he got yanked. And they didn't even let it get too out of control. Fumbled the ball early. Get his ass out of there. Insert Taylor Heineke. Pretty bad for Desmond Ritter. Yet Arthur Smith leaves the door open for a Ritter return. So, do we get part 2? The Riddler returns, part 2. Is Ritter going to be in the game under center when the Falcons take the field next week, Jay?
I think he might. I really do. I mean, Ray, look at this schedule. He's got the Vikings this week. So why even bother putting Heineke in that game? Then they go on the road and face the Cardinals. So, you want to talk about, he'll probably have to face off against Kyler Murray on the road, which is fine, but the schedule there's no immediate need to change the quarterback. If you believe that Ritter can lead the offense better than Heineke because he's more familiar with the system, then, you should be able to beat the Vikings and the Cardinals without needing Taylor Heineke. So maybe they don't make the immediate change, and the schedule doesn't really dictate it. By the time you get to the Saints, the Jets, the Bucks, and potentially the Panthers, that could be where you see the switch, because obviously those are much tougher games, divisional games, tough game against the Jets, like a lot of games you probably need to win. But 4-4, first in the NFC South still. Not looking so bad for the Panthers. I don't think he goes to Heineke just yet, but obviously in that game he kind of needed to a little bit.
David said Ritter's going to play in home games, Heineke on
That's what they need to do.
Let's just call the shot right now, Jay. Call the shot. Who starts on Sunday for the Falcons?
Oh, it's Ritter. It's the Vikings, Ray. It's the Vikings. Who's going to play quarterback for the Vikings? We don't even know. They're saying it's not Jaren Hall, potentially, because they I think Nick Mullins could come back for them.
It should be Nick Mullins.
But I think he's on IR till week 10, which unfortunately for them.
All right, another ugly. Kirk Cousins, just ugly. This sucks. This really sucks. I think this is going to have big impacts for all these Vikings. Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. Do we even see Jefferson come back? Do we see Jefferson in a Minnesota Vikings uniform next year? This is just not good. This isn't ugly because Kirk Cousins was isolated, like individually bad. This just really, really sucks because he was that kind of mainstay, locked and loaded, top end QB2 that you knew was going to give you some QB1 weeks. This was just a very, very ugly loss. And then the final ugly, Jay, I don't know what you do. New York, New Jersey, the states are all combined together. I don't know what is what. They play in the same. I don't know if I have no idea. But Daniel Jones has no power in his left arm. Tyrod Taylor's ribs are broken. Tommy DeVito can't throw the ball. And Zach Wilson is just Zach Wilson. Jay.
What do we do?
You can't start. There's only one Giant you can start. One.
Who is? I guess
Saquon Barkley. That is it. Who is it? There are 2 Jets you can start. That's it. Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. Other than that, these quarterback situations are so damn nasty, Jay. Just ugly, nasty, dirty. Let's move on to the wide receivers, Jay. Who's the first good we want to talk about? Because we got a lot of receivers that we need to get into.
Well, I'm not going to say this is a bit of favoritism on your end, but he was phenomenal in this game, and that is, of course, your boy CeeDee Lamb, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. I believe he had 11 receptions on 14 targets. So he was phenomenal in this matchup. Absolutely shredded the Los Angeles Rams defense, which we kind of expected because they can be had through the air, but CeeDee Lamb still absolutely dominated in this one. And I did want to point out, Ray, Brandon Cooks also outsnapped Michael Gallup in this game. So we could see some more Cooks. Cooks had a pretty good game as well. He was great. And I think we could see some more Cooks down the stretch. They finally seem to have figured out how to utilize him. But CeeDee Lamb was the man and will continue to be the man going forward. Happy to see the alpha get it done and see the majority share of the targets where things have been kind of spread around recently in Dallas.
Yeah, CeeDee was incredible. And it's about damn time they started just hyper-targeting him. I never understood why the Dallas Cowboys just didn't, and I don't want to say this like they can't spread the ball around, but he needs to be targeted more times than not. He should have double-digit targets every single week. There should not be a week where Devontae Smith is not receiving double-digit targets, Jay. It's just, it's egregious for the play calling to do that. Just target him, like period. Yeah. Target CeeDee Lamb and target him early and often, as well as this man, Jay. What say you? Our boys Ike and Gene, hold on, let me do it this way so we get the whole screen. Ike and Gene from Off the Line Fantasy. Ike has been talking about A.J. Brown, saying that he is the best receiver in the NFL, period. 8 for 8, 130, 2 touchdowns. Swole Batman was out there getting busy, Jay. What do you think about A.J. Brown and his performance this Sunday?
I mean, record-breaking, right? That 125 yards finally broke the record. There's not much less to say. Dude is phenomenal. We've seen it time and time again. We saw it in Tennessee when he was underutilized, didn't get the ball enough. We've seen it in Philly, and I believe now he's on pace to break his own record because I believe he already broke the franchise record, or he's going to break the franchise record this season for receiving yards. He's 3rd right now in Offensive Player of the Year voting, but pretty significantly behind Tyreek Hill and Christian McCaffrey. But, I mean, A.J. Brown deserves to be in the conversation. He's been so good this year. And I think it's interesting because last year we were kind of unsure whether it be him or Smitty. Are they going to be co-alphas? It seems like that's pretty much over at this point. Smitty was great in the game, but if there's anybody you want to trust week in and week out, it's always going to be A.J. Brown, and it seems to be solidified in that role going forward.
Adam said, I've been saying it. He's our new Terrell Owens. I actually really, really like that call. A.J. Brown was incredible, but his running mate, Devontae Smith, also got in the action. Finally, Smitty's had a down couple of weeks, Jay, and he got back on track. They left him wide open on a long touchdown pass. He finished the game with right at 100 yards, 1 touchdown. Good for Devontae Smith. And also on the other side of the ball, Jay, Jahan Dotson. I mean, we have been really ripping on Jahan Dotson. Yeah. We have been, where's this dude at? No showing week after week. Talked about him on the Trinity Report. Just slammed him. And Jahan Dotson said, take this. 8 catches, 108 yards, 1 touchdown from Jahan Dotson. But that was not the most surprising one, Jay. I had to do with that. I'm watching this because I'm like, yes, the Commanders are going to beat the Eagles. And all of a sudden, I heard a name. And I mean, I stopped. I'm in the kitchen. I'm cooking. I stopped. I said, who? What? Jamison freaking Crowder, Jay. What on earth? 7 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Jay, I guarantee you, he is on waivers everywhere. I need to know in the chat who the hell had Jamison Crowder in the lineup. Just let me know who had Jamison Crowder in the lineup because I did not see it coming, Jay. But Jamison Crowder had himself a day. This is why I'm excited about Sam Howell. You make Jamison Crowder relevant in October of 2023, you have my full attention, my friend. And yes, people are saying Julio too. He did score a touchdown. But Crowder, man, 7 for 95 and a touchdown, Jay. Are you going to put some bids in for some Jamison Crowder this week?
I mean, depending on the status of Curtis Samuel, right? Only played 14 snaps. Crowder played 23. But like you mentioned, to get 7 catches on those 23 snaps is pretty insane. But it was kind of at the expense of Curtis Samuel. And I think the greater point here that people need to understand is that this slot role for the Commanders has been good all year long. Like, Curtis Samuel has been viable for fantasy all season. And now you see Jamison Crowder doing the same thing in the same role. Yes, you should pay attention. You should be starting him, and you should be placing some pretty significant bids on this player, because for as long as Curtis Samuel is out, Jamison Crowder is going to assume all of his snaps. So if I were you, I'd be picking up Crowder. I'd be placing some pretty big bids because he's going to produce for fantasy.
Here's the thing, man, and I just want to caution people who are just immediately dismissing him, right? Production came in the fourth, happened, whenever Curtis Samuel was out. We did this with Adam Thielen early. I told people, go get Adam Thielen. He's going to be like, I don't know. Adam Thielen back in 2004, I'll take Adam Thielen. If Curtis Samuel is going to miss time, what did we just say about Sam Howell, and why do we like Sam Howell so much? Because they let him throw the goddamn ball 40 times, 50 times a game. If he's going to throw the ball 30, 40 times a game, potentially in high-scoring matchups because their defense is no good, they get rid of Chase Young, they trade Montez Sweat, which has been reported they're going to do before the trade deadline, then you know what? I think I'd want pieces of this offense. I just kind of don't care. They're going to throw the ball a lot, especially in best ball lineup leagues. You're not going to feel good ever plugging one of those guys in. But give me some Jamison Crowder in best ball if Curtis Samuel is going to miss time, because I'm just going to trust and bet on the volume of that offense. Let's go. Yes, 2004 would have been awesome to have that Adam Thielen. Who else went nuclear this past Sunday? The good DeAndre freaking Hopkins, man. 3 touchdowns. Come on, man. Nuke blew up with Will Levis at the helm. And this was a player that we, again, have been continuing to talk about as a positive regression candidate, looking at what he's done on the season versus the things that he's doing at the wide receiver position, man. His Trinity score was very high, one of the highest Trinity scores, and he was below that regression line. So you knew at some point, if he continued to do the things that he was doing, something had to change. And you see right here, the Trinity tracker just kind of shows it, right? There's DeAndre Hopkins with a Trinity score of 8.17, which historically puts you in range to be a pretty high-end wide receiver 2, back-end wide receiver 1. And it's going to move above that regression line this week when we run our update on Tuesday. So DeAndre Hopkins was another easy sort of player to buy into. Now, he only had 4 receptions in that matchup, Jay. 3 of them went for touchdowns. So I'm not banking on that again, but very positive step in the right direction. And if you had Nuke this past Sunday, you're feeling great because he absolutely crushed for you in fantasy lineups. And I will give you a proper your boy, because this is your boy, Jay, but Rashid Shaheed, a best ball MVP.
How many times I've been saying it?
You've been saying it, man, and you get to lap it today because Rashid Shaheed was incredible. He had over $150, long touchdown pass, taking all of Chris Olave's air yards. Derek Carr should have known it was coming. He cussed out Olave, didn't really want to throw to him that much. Just kidding. He led the team in targets. But Rashid Shaheed had a monster performance this past Sunday. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, Jay, both going over 100 yards. Jalen Waddle heard the talk, and he said, damn it, I'm going to go out here and out-target Tyreek Hill, and I'm about to get it any which way possible. They were both incredible. George Kittle was a monster as a pass catcher. Again, been talking about him, but San Francisco was put in a situation where they were forced to throw the ball to come back into the game, and George Kittle was incredible as well, Jay.
Yeah, they were both awesome, right? And especially when you talk about coming back in a game, we don't see that a lot from the Niners. And I think to your point about Purdy, he was hitting Kittle over the middle, making a lot of good throws to Kittle.
Yes.
And that's really where they made their money, is over the middle to Kittle. He did phenomenal things. But you talk about Waddle, he's trying to maintain that value, right? Still at wide receiver 7 on KTC. He's trying to hold it, right? He's trying to hold the line.
He's saying
not Puka yet. Puka yet, right?
We'll get to Puka in a minute. Keep going.
But it was great to see all these performances from all these guys. Rashid Shaheed, obviously, that's my dog, man. Like, my buddy is a huge Saints fan. And I told him early, I was like, I think Rashid Shaheed could be awesome. He made me a lot of money last year betting his touchdowns. But Ray, if you do want to get into the bad, because there are some bad performances.
We still had some good. No.
Who else we got left?
Jamar Chase,
wide receiver too. Jamar Chase.
Come on,
back,
man.
Baby.
Yeah, get Jamar Chase some love. Jamar Chase, and we lumped the tight ends here. David Njoku was also very good for the Browns versus the. They love that screen. Name something Stefanski likes more than a good screen. He loves him a good screen. And David Njoku with an awesome touchdown catch where he was laying on top of a defender, getting in the end zone. It's just I'm ever since I've seen David Njoku return from that burn injury, the burns that he suffered, I'm just an Njoku fan. So when he does well, we do well. Mark Andrews caught a touchdown pass. TJ Hawkinson did his customary damage. And Jay, my boy, I'm going to take some credit for this pass catcher. My boy, Trey McBride season, baby. Let's go, Trey McBride.
He went off, man.
Trey McBride went off in garbage. They had to come back and 10 catches, 95 yards, touchdown, get Zach Ertz off the field. Why they weren't throwing a damn Trey McBride to begin with, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Use this dynamic young tight end. That's another player that if I were you, dynasty managers, I'd be trying to get ahead of the Trey McBride train. I still don't know if enough people have really bought into him. One of my highest owned players on Underdog Fantasy, Jay. I've been pumping up McBride for some time, but he's actually starting to get it done. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when Kyler comes back, but please keep Zach Ertz away from the field. Please keep Zach Ertz.
He's hurt.
Just stay. Just
retire. That'd be great. Just retire. Just relax.
Hang out with Julie and go kick soccer balls and go make money doing endorsements. Stay away from Trey McBride, please. But yeah, Jay, we can get into the bad, and I'm not putting him there. I'm not. We're taking the first name off. We're taking the first name off the show sheet.
He's just because he's wide receiver 20. We're letting him off the hook.
He was not bad. He was bad.
Right. First game back too.
Oh, he was okay. So we're not going to bring that name up. But I do want to talk about George Pickens. And yes, he scored a touchdown pass, Jay. He had one catch for 22 yards. And Deontay Johnson, the moment Deontay Johnson came back on the field, like that's what it was. Deontay Johnson, 14 targets. He was the guy. He was the dude. As soon as he came back on the field, he was the dude. So my question to you is, was this more blip or trend with George Pickens? Is this... Again, with Deontay on the field, and we're not even factoring in the quarterback change. They screw that. Just all things equal, Deontay Johnson and George Pickens are on the field together. Who's the alpha, Jay? Is it Deontay or is it George Pickens?
I think the alpha from a target share perspective will continue to be Deontay Johnson. I've always thought that, right? I do think that Trubisky plays a bit of a role in this, right? Trubisky threw the ball 27 times. Pickett only threw it 16 times. And you go back to last season, Pickett would have had a lot more time and reps with George Pickens than Trubisky had with Pickens, right? Because they were still rookies and all of that going on. Then you look at Deontay Johnson, and Trubisky had a ton of practice reps when Trubisky was still the starter. So I could see chemistry being a bit of a role here. And for as long as Trubisky's a starter, definitely prefer Deontay. I think when Pickett comes back, though, you could see some Pickens games, but in terms of a wholesale perspective, of course, I do continue to believe that Deontay is the alpha and will continue to be going forward. I've been a big Deontay fan forever. 14 targets, 8 receptions, 85 yards. He was great. He doesn't get in the end zone, but he will continue to see the targets every single week.
Do you see the tweet that I tweet out every single Deontay? If y'all haven't seen it, I tweet this out. I started this trend back in 2020, but it's a quad box of Deontay Johnson, and it's him on a cart, him walking off the field with the trainer, him being prayed over by his teammates, and then the fourth box is him high-stepping into the... Every week, Deontay Johnson, he's going to get hurt. Just know he is going to go to the blue tent. He was in the tent again, too. He has a permanent residence inside of the blue tent, but somehow, Jay, he gets better, and he goes back on the field, and he makes plays. George Pickens scored a touchdown, but I put him in the bad category.
Yeah,
Zay
5
Flowers,
targets, 1 catch.
I put Zay Flowers in the bad category, too. Zay Flowers led the team in targets again, had 5 catches.
Didn't matter.
Didn't
matter at all. Complete non-factor for fantasy.
And Lamar didn't play well. I know Lamar, he didn't play well. Gus Edwards balled out. Gus Edwards
carried that offense. They just didn't care, right? They just sleptwalked to a victory. That's it.
We legitimately said it. That could this be a damn trap game for the Ravens? And it almost... It was
a late cover, though.
The analysis was literally, going to Arizona, bad team. We just had a good win, and they looked like they were just trying to get in and get out, right? Get in and get out.
Just handle business,
Arizona,
get a win,
handle
and that
business,
was
get
it,
a win, and go home. So not good. Bad Zay Flowers, but the ugly on the day, Jay. And I need to know, did you look this up? I put it in the notes because I just did Treylon play, or did he just not get snaps? Because I didn't see him on the field at all. I don't remember seeing him. Goose egg across the board. I think he had 2 targets in the matchup. Did he play more than those 2 snaps or what?
Yeah. So DeAndre Hopkins played 66% of snaps. So talk about the good, right? And DeAndre Hopkins, he had those 4 receptions, 3 touchdowns on only 66% of snaps. Second on the team was Treylon Burks at 54%. So he was playing a lot. He was playing in 2 wide receiver sets, playing in obviously 3 wide receiver sets as well. But Nick Westbrook-Akine did drastically outproduce him in the game. And to be fair, that play was kind of set up for Akine. But yeah, Burks was on the field quite a bit, 50% of snaps.
He could.
The same as Nick Westbrook-Akine.
I don't buy it.
Well, I'm just... You know, they say analytics can't tell who's on the field, right? They do say that in the Twitter streets. But yeah, Treylon Burks was definitely on the field, almost as much as Hopkins, but did absolutely nothing out there. Absolutely nothing. But I think, what did you expect? He hasn't been doing anything all season. So why did you expect him to do it now?
Jackie Moon said Treylon bust. Just admit it.
That's fine. I mean, he's in Tennessee either way. So until something changes.
Yeah. Some more bad, Jay. Some more ugly, excuse me. Ugly. And not their fault, but Puka and Cooper Kupp. Puka and Cooper Kupp. Just sad trombone, man. Just...
They were okay, but yeah, it just didn't help that Stafford was bad.
They were not okay. They were not okay. And here's why. You started them as high-end wide receiver ones, and they gave you nothing. And I'm not saying it's their fault. Not saying that they played bad. It's a little concerning, man. No Matt Stafford. This is...
Oh, that's a problem.
This is a big problem. This is a big problem. This is a very big problem. And I made a very big trade this week, betting on Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford. And it's not feeling very good, Jay. I am concerned for my Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp shares. Sure, they had a high target share again. I guess.
Damn right they did.
I'll hang my hat on that. Cooper Kupp still had 10 targets. Puka had like 7, 8 targets. All
right, Ray Tater said it. Puka or Smitty? Because you were pretty adamant on Puka last week. You were saying it's Puka.
Yeah, with Matt Stafford, it's Puka. with Brett
but Tyler
Rippon,
Higbee got involved too. Look at that. 5 receptions, 45 yards. Not bad. He's been terrible all year, so I'll take it.
Jackie, don't ask this shit, man. I don't feel like answering this question right now. If Stafford's playing, I'm still rolling with Puka Nacua.
Okay, hold on. What if Stetson Bennett plays quarterback this week? Because he is still a viable option. Brett Rippon did go into the game, but maybe old Sean McVay is saying, give me some Stetson Bennett in my life. Why not?
Dude, he ain't even. Is he even on the team right now? Like legitimately, I know he has some issues.
I don't know. Yeah, he did.
Okay,
he did
I do not. Okay, let's move on to some more ugly, Jay. Another ugly, Christian Watson. Jay, I never really got the 3rd round startup price in underdog.
But that yards per route run, Ray, 1.96. Gotta have it, right? Gotta have it. We were never in.
3 for 33, and I get it. It ain't all his fault either. You've got to have a quarterback that can get you the ball. But the cost in which you invested in Christian Watson, you're not getting that type of return right now. I am
not ever.
I'm just it's something. I just am not buying it, Jay. I haven't bought it. I'm not buying it. I'm good. I'm just good. The other ugly on the week in this one, this was a very, and Richie, you're in here. Richie, I'm calling you out, Richie, because I know you were in the wake up, the breakfast and bet stream on Sunday. And this was a good reason why a lot of times, like I follow the data and I trust the money when it comes to lines. Like honestly, Jay, like there's no model that you or I or your favorite analyst at home is going to be able to create that's going to compete with billion-dollar companies. You don't think DraftKings, their model is better than the old Ray GQ model when I'm trying to predict yards? You don't think FanDuel has a more sophisticated computer than the old 2015 iMac that I'm using over here? I can assure you that they do. And every data point said, take the under on Tank Dell. Take the under on Tank Dell. And all I saw is it's his birthday. And it's his birthday. And Tank Dell's going to smash because it's his birthday. Oh, my God. And then he goes out there and goes under his goddamn prop. It was like the juice. Every billion-dollar data point was saying, take the under on Tank Dell. People firing up because it was his birthday. Just the epitome of bad betting. That's a surefire way to lose money, betting on that kind of shit because it's his birthday. And he went under. It was ugly because I know a lot of people jammed him in to their starting lineup because it was his freaking birthday. So
that's rough. Yeah, 16 yards, 24. Woof. So only 66% of his age right now in terms of yards. That's pretty rough for Tank Dell. Who else we got in the bad category? Well, I guess that's it for the ugly.
Well, for the ugly.
We're being nice. I mean, Nico Collins, 4 for 30. But that game in general, people should have kind of seen this coming. Like literally 2 great DCs with a week off to prepare for 2 rookie quarterbacks. It was destined to be an underplay. It really was. And Stroud wasn't great on top of it being not a great spot for either quarterback.
Yes. And again, with the receivers, they are very much dependent on the quarterback. So Tank Dell, bad day. Nico Collins, bad day. People laugh me out in the building. Let me tell y'all right now, go get Noah Brown off waivers. Stop this. I said it last week.
You did.
I'm like, he should not be on waivers. Noah Brown should be rostered. He's running the routes. He's healthy. You may not like him. He may not be as crisp of a route runner as Tank Dell, but I can assure you he's probably going to play more than he does moving forward as long as he's healthy. The running backs, Jay, we got to get into the good, the bad, the ugly with the running backs. But before we do that, Jay, I know for a fact, because you did start Tank Dell and you did have Kenny Pickett in your lineup and you've lost Kirk Cousins, that your rosters are absolute shit right now. I know they are. Listen, some of mine are. I need help. So make sure you go to, Jay, what are you laughing at? Stop laughing. Make sure you go to dynastytradesn5.com/roster review to get your awful rosters reviewed. Listen, I'm looking at this one on the screen. I guarantee you there are some Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson.
One of my rosters.
It's one of your rosters, right? It's one of your
That team was 7-0 coming into this week. Now they're toast.
Yeah, I know your roster stinks, so have Scott Connor and Shane rip them apart and help you fix them. We are trying to help you out. The partnership with Dynasty Trades in 5. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to dynastytradesn5.com/roster review. Get them joints reviewed today. Get them fixed, Jay. Let's talk about the running backs. I'm just going to say running back MVP on the season. Who's running back MVP on the season in fantasy football? Running back most valuable RMVRBP, most valuable running back player. Who is it? I know.
It's Travis Etienne.
It didn't flow right.
Jacksonville Jaguars running back Travis Etienne, right?
Yes.
I know there's some receipts out there somewhere where I said Travis Etienne is going to be great, and by golly, he's done it. He's done it. He's been phenomenal.
By golly, he's done it. By golly,
I wasn't really in, but every week, almost 150 total yards, 27 opportunities, touchdown on a 56-yard reception. He's been great. He's been carrying this offense in a lot of ways. People said Tank Bigsby. Okay, yeah, right. 3 carries, 9 yards. It is Travis Etienne.
We got to stop this shit. Let me tell you right now. We got to stop this. We've got to stop this. I'm looking at ourselves first because we do content all year. For those of y'all who may be new to the channel, there's a lot of people who are in here and they've been here all year. They've been here multiple weeks. We do content all year. And there's a point in time, Jay, where we get very excited. We get very aroused by these young rookies coming in. We get very aroused. We get get
best
worked
way
up.
to put it.
Yes, best way to put it. We need to take a cold shower this spring because all these rookies that are coming, these rookie running backs, are not taking Travis Etienne's job. They're not taking Alvin Kamara's job. They're not taking Tony Pollard's job. It's just not at. We gotta stop it, Jay. And I need you to hold me accountable. I'm going to hold you accountable. We're not gonna do this shit anymore. Good. All right?
The chat will hold us accountable too.
Chat, hold us accountable. When we get excited next year over Blake Corum taking Saquon Barkley's job, refer back to this pre-Halloween episode, all right? We got to stop doing this because no Tank Bigsby is taking damn Travis Etienne's job. I don't care how many preseason highlights I tweet out, right? I'm already monetized on X. I won't do that anymore. I needed to get that $14. I needed that $14 a month, but I promise you I will not do it again, Jay. Etienne is incredible, man. Doing it through the air, on the ground. He's been a godsend for fantasy football in a landscape where the running back position has been decimated. Travis Etienne has been incredible. Austin Eckler last night, Jay, great. Over 100 yards through the air. Looked like Austin Eckler finally, after a slow start, returning from the high ankle sprain. And Jay, one of the ones that I'm most proud of, he is my highest rostered player over 100, 200 and something underdog fantasy teams that I drafted. And he's the number one, my most rostered player, Alvin Kamara, Jay. Since returning from his suspension, he's finished as a top 12 running back. He's doing it on the ground, through the air. He looks fresh. Alvin Kamara is a damn monster right now, Jay.
Yep, yeah, Alvin Kamara is phenomenal. He's RB3 right now in points per game and RB6 overall. So even missing those 3 games hasn't mattered for Alvin Kamara. He scored 17.4 points or more all 5 weeks he's been active. And as you mentioned, doing a ton through the air. He's got multiple games with 7+ receptions, 13 reception game, 12 reception game. Derek Carr has loved him, and this week he did it on the ground and through the air with 17 carries, 4 receptions, and a touchdown, both on the ground and through the air. Alvin Kamara is the real deal. Back to the old Alvin Kamara. Absolutely love to see it. But Ray, and he's doing this all with only 3 touchdowns this season. Do you know that he's only scored 1 touchdown coming into this week, and now he's got 3 on the year? He definitely is in line for some more down the stretch. And this week, Ray, he plays Chicago. And the week after that, Minnesota. And then after that, Atlanta. He does have a bye week 11, but next 4 weeks are looking very, very good for Alvin Kamara.
I like it. I like it, Jay. I like it. Gus Edwards.
Chicago, Minnesota.
Gus Edwards, 3 touchdowns. I like
the bus.
It. The bus. The bus. Not the moving. Bus, but he was Gus Bus. Gus Bus, not the bus. I don't want to offend any.
The new bus.
No.
Especially a Ravens fan.
We're not gonna do that with Steelers fans and Jerome Bettis. We're not gonna disrespect the mountain of Jerome Bettis. But Gus Edwards was phenomenal. Man, Joe Mixon looked good too. Joe Mixon, they keep writing Joe Mixon off, and Joe Mixon ain't writing back, man. They keep trying to write Joe Mixon off. Joe Mixon is not writing back. He looked explosive in that matchup versus San Francisco. And I say it again, what defense, 49ers? What defense? DeAndre Swift got involved late, scored a touchdown. Saquon Barkley, Bellcow Barkley, 36 damn carries. Hey, man, I took his over 21.5 receiving yards on Bovada. He did not hit that, but they cashed the slip. So I hurry up and withdrew my money just in case. But who knows? A win is a win. Bellcow Barkley is all you can start from the Giants. Don't ask about no Jalen Hyatt. Wan'Dale Robinson, if you absolutely positively have nobody else, but I would try to find a Jamison Crowder.
They need a quarterback, right?
Tommy DeVito's going to lead him to the promised land, probably. Let's see. And Breece Hall was awful on the ground. I think he had like 12 carries for 12 yards.
17 yards, yeah.
But he was a damn good wide receiver, man. He was out there putting up receiver numbers. What do you have, 6 for 80-something? 6 for 70?
6 for 76 and a touchdown with a 50-yarder, yeah. And 9 targets. So still second on the team in targets. Him, Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, the only players with over 2 targets. As you mentioned on the Giants side, quick note, Saquon Barkley, the only player with more than 2 targets. He had 5. But yeah, Breece Hall was phenomenal through the air. 676 and a touchdown, like I mentioned, with that 50-yarder. That definitely put them in line to win. They almost lost it. Credit to Zach Wilson. Got the big dub.
Got the big dub. And Christian McCaffrey, of course. Christian McCaffrey, another touchdown for CMC. Receiving game. Like, Christian McCaffrey's just a different cat, man. Kareem Hunt also had a good game. Want to give Kareem Hunt a little bit of love. I think he had 55 yards and a touchdown for the Cleveland Browns. Good job by those running backs, Jay. Let's get to the bad. And this one pains me because I did pump him up as a potential RB1, like the RB1 on the season, Jay. And I just think Dallas has him playing in a role that he shouldn't be playing in. But Tony Pollard, yes, he had 50-something yards, but he was not good. He was bad. For what you expect from Tony Pollard to get that type of production, it's not good. It's not good, Jay. And I just don't think he's playing. This is not the role. They need another running back. I think they miss Zeke. They miss that physical presence because that's what softens up the defense for Tony Pollard to come in and be explosive, to make those plays. Yep. And this feels like a situation where he's destined to be gone. I do not think Dallas is going to pay him after the season. Do they tag him again? We'll see. But I don't believe that they're going to give him a massive contract. I'd like to see him reunite with Kellen Moore, use him in the ways that was efficient. Let me just ask you. So Tony Pollard, bad. Rhamondre Stevenson, what's our excuse this week for Rhamondre? Like, what's the excuse this week? God damn, man. I almost traded for him, and I'm glad I didn't. He had one nice
Aaron
run.
Jones, I think.
He had one nice run, and it was a good run. He's rumbling through. They don't give him the ball. They can't block. What's the excuse for Rhamondre this week? Another bad running back performance. Not his fault. Had no clue that the defending world champs would get foot put in him by the Denver Broncos. But Isaiah Pacheco is supposed to be snow game. Mahomes sick. 40 yards. Give Pacheco the ball. What are you doing, Andy Reid? Let Pacheco cook. He was bad. Damian Pierce in this nasty-ass split with Devin Singletary, bad. Then he doesn't convert his one opportunity to score a damn touchdown. Raheem Mostert scored.
Let's go.
Look, Mostert scored a touchdown, but he was bad too. No receptions. He wasn't good. And I know they didn't need him, but you started him and you're just like, thank God you fell in the end zone, because other than that, we got nothing from Raheem Mostert. Who are you most concerned about? Rhamondre, Pollard, Pacheco, Pierce, Mostert?
I think the most concerning is probably still Pollard. Rhamondre, concerned about him, but again, this Patriots offense is what it is. They're terrible. So, you talk about bad offenses. I was going to make the comp to Aaron Jones, right? James Cook is kind of similar light, but I would go with the Aaron Jones comp because the team is bad, the quarterback is bad, and if he's not catching passes, he's doing nothing for you, right? So I think that's where Rhamondre is. You look at the snap share, him and Zeke were 60%, 40%. So he's not playing, 70%, 80% where he can maybe get additional volume that way. He's at 60%, which is fine, but if he's not catching passes, he's not going to be a viable fantasy option. That's where we go with Aaron Jones, right? And you have him in a worse category, but most concerned about Tony Pollard, pretty concerned about Dameon Pierce if he's your RB2, because I don't think he's going to provide RB2 value. Mostert will be fine. It was a game script that we should have seen a little bit more favorable for him. He could have got more targets. He could have got some more carries, especially with them being up in this game. Now, they started down because Tua threw a bad pick early in the game, but, Mostert will be fine. We know he's going to be good. I think the question is, though, is that he's still good when Achane comes back, because this backfield is already getting a little muddy with Jeff Wilson back and Mostert not playing as well as he did early in the season. But definitely in terms of my concern, not concerned about Pacheco, who's going to be great. Not concerned about Mostert too much. I think what he is, he's just kind of going back to the role he was supposed to be in all year. Rhamondre is probably going to suck, and I think Dameon Pierce, if you have him and can move him, I would try, but I doubt you get much for him.
Hoosier DEVO said can't be concerned with Pierce when you've already given up on him.
Fair. I'm with you.
Joe says Pollard was priced high all summer. Joe, I said it. I said RB1, not an RB1, the RB1. This is one where I have been concerned on Tony Pollard. I've said that I was trying to move him in some spots, see if I could pivot off of Tony Pollard. I'm concerned. I just think this is just not the role.
They need the hammer.
They need the hammer. They need a hammer. Yeah, Pollard, you paid the most for. Rhamondre is just like, damn, man.
Do you think he stinks, though? Like, do you think it's a talent issue? Because I personally don't. Maybe I'm a little biased because I do like Rhamondre quite a bit. But I don't think it's a talent issue for Rhamondre, unfortunately. It's just the team stinks.
The real talk is this, man. And I have some people that I really listen to, their football opinions. And Eric Crocker is one. That's my dog. And he said he tweeted out yesterday that Mac Jones takes a lot of heat. But he said if you objectively look at this roster and team, like what do you expect is going to happen? Like KB is nice. Kendrick Bourne's a nice player. He's a fine player, scores you some good fantasy points. He's been around the league for a long time, which tells you he's probably pretty good. But when that's your number one and, Devontae Parker's your two and then DeMario Douglas, who I like, Jay, when that's your most explosive offensive player, your offensive line is average at best. It's tough for an offense. Like, objectively,
you're paying Juju and his explosive knee syndrome.
Dude, when they said his most impactful play as a Patriot came this past Sunday when he caught like a 1-yard touchdown pass.
3-yard touchdown pass.
3 yards. That lets you know how bad it is offensively. So do I think Rhamondre is a bum? No. But I don't know how it gets better for him. And say what you want. If they've lost Kendrick Bourne, that even sets the offense back further than where it was, because that's at least another dynamic pass catcher that's devoid of that offense. This is a bad situation in New England, Jay, but these weren't even the worst running backs on the week. Let's get to the ugly. So we went through the good. We had some bad, and we left off a couple of players. Like I thought Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet both played well for the Seattle Seahawks. That was a beautiful. Yeah, probably should have had a touchdown here or there, but they were both good on the week. They weren't great, but they played well, so we're not going to put them in any category. But the ugly, Jay, I want to start in Pittsburgh. The combination of Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, every week they're just both equally they can't do anything. They just can't. And I don't know if at this point it can't be both of them. It just can't be both of them. It's got to be some Matt Canada. It's got to be some offensive line. Now, Najee did help you out because he caught like 5 for 40, but like you just watch, receiver. It's just bad. Just they were both ugly. And you keep starting Najee Harris every freaking week, and it's just ugly. Every week you keep firing him up, and you're praying for a touchdown. Jalen Warren, you're praying for receptions and a touchdown. Aaron Jones, ugly. Can't start him. You just can't do it. Matt LaFleur doesn't like him. Trade him then. Trade him to Kansas City. Get him out of here. If you don't want to use him, get him the hell off of the team, man. Ugly. Alexander Madison, ugly. Just ugly performances by these running backs that we were starting. And please tell me you didn't start no damn Jerome Ford, Chuba Hubbard, bad. Miles Sanders, bad. Just bad running back play across the board, Jay. Are we missing any other ugly, putrid, pathetic running back performances on the week?
I don't think so. You can make the case for a lot of guys, right? It's just a bad running back week in general. You talked about Kenneth Walker. Zach Charbonnet was great for what we expected of him, but we expected a lot more from Kenneth Walker and didn't get it. Kind of the same thing we talked about with Raheem Mostert. But yeah, Jalen Warren and Najee Harris is probably the most confusing. Only 12 carries for a combined 32 yards between the two. As you mentioned, Najee did get 5 for 42 through the air on 5 targets, but I mean, they're doing nothing for you. Like, you don't want to start Najee. We talk about if he's not catching passes, he's not viable for fantasy. And we have so many of those guys. Patrick saying Foreman, Tater saying Madison. Yeah, Madison just. we got
Madison's about to get his job taken.
Cam Akers taking that job.
Well,
Cam Akers got in the end zone, right? Finally, Minnesota. Rushing touchdown. Took
19
them 8
yards,
weeks.
too. He had 19 yards, so it wasn't like he
Madison
was out there
ain't done
balling.
it this season at all. So credit to Cam Akers, he got in the end zone. But yeah, I don't think we're really missing anybody. But Ray, we do have some breaking news. After dealing with left side weakness, Giants quarterback Daniel Jones has been improving. Now cleared and ready to return. I think he's been cleared for contact, Ray. Could be back this week.
Jay, the reports were the arm was limp, dead, no feeling, and somehow after watching Tommy DeVito not throw the ball, he's okay.
He is back.
What are you doing?
Back.
You know what I'd be trying?
Damn, Rashawn Gary got a big extension. Sorry.
I would be trying to trade Daniel Jones to the Kirk Cousins manager. I would, if there's any enthusiasm out there for Daniel Jones, it's time. Like, it's time. It literally, the report on Sunday was the diminished feeling in that left arm. Not going to play to the powers back. And somehow, in a matter of hours, the Lord healed and touched that arm. I mean, Daniel Jones must have touched the literal hem of that garment of our Lord and Savior, and somehow the power transferred to that left arm, and he's going to be good to go.
I mean, it's his non-throwing arm, so.
I mean, prayer is powerful, man. It is powerful, and Daniel Jones is back, baby. So there you go. Daniel Jones, top.
You're QB1. Top 5 quarterback.
Stop.
It's a rough year for the Ray GQ top picks. We got Tony Pollard and Daniel Jones. I don't know who your wide receiver was this year. It's not looking good. It's been a tough year for the takes, but you got your Kamara take out there.
No,
we focus on the positive.
We focus on the Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is a swing and a goddamn miss. That is a swing and a miss. Tony,
you went
Pollard,
Javi Baez on that one.
I did go Javier Baez on that one. Swing and a miss. I just was swinging for the fences on that one, and yeah, we came up very short. Neither here nor
But yeah, Richie, here. I interrupted you. Richie, so Rashawn Gary got a 4-year, $96 million extension from the Packers. That dropped today, actually. So, sorry.
There it is.
Big news for the Packers. He's a big part of their offense. They need to re-sign him, or their defense, sorry. Big part of them, so.
Y'all can fade me all you want, but we got a lot more hits than we got misses. I promise you that. I promise you.
Damn right.
That one, Jay. But it was an interesting week. We didn't talk about Justin Herbert, who played a very good game versus Chicago. Tyson Bagent did not play well at all. And
not the next Brock Purdy?
He's not the next Brock Purdy. Probably not. Probably not the next. Somebody said the power of New York prayer. Yeah, New York prayer, it hits different.
Even stronger.
It's even stronger. But we appreciate everybody tapping into the show today. Big stream today. Hit that subscribe button. Thumbs up. Like the content. Comment below. GQ, you didn't read Chapter 9, Week 9 NFL script for this year. We got to get to the Super Chats before we get out of this show. We got quite a few, Jay. We got a couple. Stanley right here.
We got a lot.
BBM pre-draft, also DK Best Ball. I'm doing very good. I have a lot of teams. Jay, did you see the team? I know people have asked about my Best Ball Mania teams. Did you see the squad that is top 50 that I have right now?
I haven't seen the squad, but I know that you had a top 50 team. How did you do this week? Did you check it?
I didn't check it yet, but I had a couple of teams inside of that top 10,000. But I do, or at least coming into the week, I did have a team that was still in the running to catch that. Was it $5 million first place payout? $3 million?
Yeah, if you can catch it, yeah.
If I win BBM4, I'm gonna be very obnoxious. Like, you'll think I'm Floyd Mayweather with my $100,000. If I win that thing or you're getting the money, I'm gonna be very obnoxious. Just know, at least I'm honest with myself. If I win, I'm going to be very obnoxious. Just know that. But
we won't see you for a few weeks. You'll be in Mexico.
Now you'll see me. You will see me. You will see me. Believe that. David from across the pond hit us with something dope. Let's see what we got right here. Who are the hottest teams in football with a 5-game win streak, winning 5 games in a month for the first time in franchise history, 11-2 since December 5th, 2022, 4-0 on the road and heading for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Oh, he just popping off. David talking his shit right now. Part 2. And don't give me a week. Oh, talking that talk. He said, don't give me no weak division soft schedule. All 5 opponents, 500 or better before facing the Jags. Combined record of opponents, 32-30, 30-22, not including their games against the Jags. See you in the damn Super Bowl. He said, listen, he's pumping up his Jags. If y'all don't know, if you're listening to this, he's got a damn Leonard Fournette jersey on in his YouTube profile pic. This is my guy David
with the cheerleaders.
With the cheerleaders, the actual cheerleaders. So you know he's season ticket holder, right? He's going to all the games. I do think Jacksonville's a hot team, and that defense is for real. Their defense is for real, Jay. Jags are good. The Jags are a very good football team. They're going to be top 5 for me today when I get on Bleacher Report. Very good football team. And then also, PS also leading the league in takeaways and INTs. When the offense ticks, we good. I agree.
Yeah,
good
the defense has been good.
Defense is dope. You got a young stud at quarterback, and you got a stud running back. Even when the pass catchers aren't doing anything, like they're good, right? Christian Kirk didn't have the best game, but Evan Ingram was good. Calvin Ridley got involved. You got Travis Etienne, the old line. Jacksonville's for real. And I'm not going to discredit their division. They are for real. People just need to. This was a playoff team last year, so it's not like they're coming out of thin air. This is a good football team. I have them inside of my top 5 this week, so I agree with you too, my friend. But that is the show, Jay. 825 Tater said, oh, we love David. Yes, David going to talk his talk about those damn Jaguars. What else do we have? Jags D is top 3. I see it, Joe. Yes.
Yeah, they've been very good.
Did y'all see Flavor Flav in the national anthem versus the Bucks? I'll say this. He had no business up there singing the national anthem. I'll say this. He had no business up there, but it was better than I expected when I saw the intro. I said, this is about to be a cluster. He got all the words right, and he tried to sing. I actually was going to play that. Matter of fact, man, let me pull this up. This is how we're going to end Wake Up.
Oh, my God.
Stand
we're
up
about
and
to get demonetized with Flavor Flav at the helm.
Stand up and put your hand over your heart. That's what you do in America. I know you guys don't follow these principles, Jay, in Canada.
How do you know what we follow?
I know y'all don't follow this in Canada, but I thought Flav did all right, Jay. We're gonna end on Flav singing. Let me see if we can do this. Let's see if we can do this. Can you hear this?
No.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? You can't hear it?
No.
Oh, well,
thank God I can't hear it.
It was. I want y'all to be able to hear it, but I don't think you can hear it. We need to get off of here.
Oh my God.
Okay. It's playing in my ear now. Hold on. It's playing in my ear now. We can't hear it. We'll have it for Friday so we can stand up before wake up, sing the national anthem, and make Jay recognize us over here in North America. But we appreciate y'all tapping in. Again, hit the subscribe button. Go to DestinationDevi.com. We freaking love y'all tapping in every single week, man. Tap into what we're doing. Jay, hit the outro music. Just give me something. You're supposed to give me some music to get out. All the content creators, all the content. We love y'all. We are out of this thing. Have a great Monday. Peace out.